Hello there, and welcome to Whispers to Sleep. My name is David, and I'm truly honored to be your guide tonight. Here we believe sleep is not just a routine. It's a gentle journey, a quiet return to peace every night. I craft stories with care, so your mind can rest and your body can soften all you need to do. Let go, take a slow deep breath in, and as you breathe out, allow the day to melt away. Close your eyes. Get cozy under the covers and let my voice lead you into calm, into comfort, into dreams. This is your time. Your memento. Truly relax. Let's begin. It begins with rain. A gentle silver hush falls from the sky, touching the land like a memory returning. You walk slowly, your boots pressing into the soaked emerald of the earth. The air is cool and wet, filled with the scent of moss and distant peat fire. A wind brushes past your skin, like a whisper too old to translate. The hills around you are low and rolling, soft like sleep itself. There are no sharp lines here, only curves, like the folds of a blanket or the rhythm of a breath. Every stone you pass seems to know something you don't. And above it all, the rain keeps falling, steady, cleansing, timeless. You follow a narrow path, barely more than a suggestion worn into the grass. It leads upward, toward a dome-shaped rise half hidden in mist. The hill is not large, yet it feels important, the way a heart feels under skin. You can't explain why, but your steps slow, as though your body already understands something your mind hasn't caught up to. This is Newgrange, older than the pyramids, older than Stonehenge, built by hands that knew the sun, the stars, and the soil in ways modern minds only begin to remember. You pause at the edge of the rise. The rain falls harder now, but gently, as if it's washing you clean for what comes next. There's a calm here that doesn't come from silence, but from deep time. The kind of time that seeps into stone and makes it sacred. You kneel beside one of the outer curbstones. Its surface is etched with spirals, worn but still bold. The carvings seem to move in the rain, water running through their grooves like a message being repeated again and again. You trace the lines with your eyes, not knowing what they mean, but knowing they mean something. The earth around you hums, not with sound, but with presence. You feel it in your chest, that slow, grounding rhythm that reminds you you're part of something ancient and ongoing. Your heartbeat begins to match it. You sit back in the grass, letting the wetness soak into your clothes. Above you, clouds drift low and gray, but not heavy. They carry the mood of a sky remembering. And you listen, not for words, but for weather, for wind, for whatever wants to speak through stone and soil. The rain becomes part of the story now. Each drop landing on your skin is a sentence. Each breeze is a pause between thoughts. Nature narrates without urgency. You wonder who stood here before you. Thousands of years ago, someone must have walked this same path, heard the same rain, looked up at the same curve of hill. What were they thinking? Were they burying someone they loved, marking the return of the sun, waiting for light to find the dark? The grass flattens slightly as you lean back, eyes open to the sky. It's not cold, not uncomfortable, just wet and real. You feel awake and sleepy at the same time, present and distant, like you are lying in both now and then. A bird calls. In the distance, a long, low note that echoes between trees and stone. It sounds like longing, or maybe it sounds like home. You begin to see shapes in the mist, a soft ridge here, a tree branch there, and then, clearer now, the curve of the mound, smooth, deliberate, green. It doesn't shout for attention. It waits. The entrance is hidden for now, facing away, toward the east, toward the place where the sun will rise, and, on just one morning a year, spill through the passage in golden certainty. But that is for another time. For now, there is only this moment, the damp air, the soft stone, the hush of rainfall on ancient grass dot. You lie down completely now, body melting into earth. The sky overhead weeps slowly, without sadness. It's the kind of rain that feels like it's been falling forever. And maybe it has. Your fingers rest on the spiral carving beside you, still slick with rain. You trace its curve with a fingertip, round and round, again and again. Not to understand, but to remember. Because somehow, this place feels like something. You forgot you knew. You imagine a time before memory, before language, before history had a name. And yet, this hill stood here, waiting. You let your breath soften, let your thoughts slow. The earth rises beneath you, holding you like a cradle of time. There is nothing to do, nothing to solve. Only to feel the shape of a place that outlasted empires, seasons, names. The rain sings in the grass. The clouds shift gently overhead. The spiral under your hand holds its curve, unbroken, unchanged dot, and as your eyes drift closed, you wonder, what else has this doorway seen? Perhaps, when the light returns, it will tell you. But first, you must find the door that waits for the sun. You rise slowly from the damp grass, the rain now a mist, softer than before. Your body remembers the curve of the earth beneath it. Your skin holds the memory of the stone's spiral, pressed like a secret into your palm. And just ahead, parting, the morning veil of fog, you see it, the doorway. Not grand, not towering, but deliberate. A low entrance of stone, half hidden in the hill, facing east as if waiting for something only the sky can deliver. You walk closer, each step muffled by wet moss and ancient soil. And as you reach the threshold, you pause. There's something in the stillness, not silence, but held breath. The entrance to Newgrange is not just a door. It is a question carved in stone. A question that is only answered once a year, when the sun stands still. You step near, without crossing. Your fingers graze the great curbstone guarding the front. Its spirals and diamonds are not decorative. They are memory made visible. You trace their rhythm as though reading a song with your skin. Above the doorway, there's a narrow slit, a roof box, it's called. Simple in shape, astonishing in purpose. Because when the winter solstice comes, and the sun lifts itself just above the horizon, its first golden ray travels perfectly through that slit, down the passage, and into the heart of the tomb. It happens only for a few days each December, just after sunrise. The sun must be in the right place, the sky clear enough, the timing exact. And when it happens, the chamber awakens. You imagine it now. The long stone passage, dark for most of the year, suddenly pierced by a single beam. Golden light crawling across the floor, touching the stones that have waited for it all year. A slow sun finger stretching through centuries. You step beneath the doorway's edge. You don't enter yet, not fully. Instead, you stand just inside the shadow, looking out toward the gray-blue sky, imagining it glowing orange and pink at the solstice hour. You feel the direction, the alignment, in your chest, as if your ribs know the rhythm of the sky. You breathe. Thousands of years ago, those who built this mound, without machines, without metal tools, somehow knew. They studied the sky, with their eyes, their patience, their questions, and with hands shaped by time, they laid each stone so that light would visit only when the year turned. How did they know? How did they see the unseen, mark the moment, build toward it? Perhaps it wasn't knowledge in the way you define it now. Perhaps it was attention, deep, reverent attention to the cycles of the world. Perhaps they listened to the sun the way you listen to the rain now, with stillness and awe. You enter the passage. The stone walls are cool to the touch, slick with moisture. They rise around you, not to intimidate, but to guide. This corridor was built to carry the sun like a cradle, and now it carries you. The air changes inside. It feels both tight and infinite, like the center of something sacred. You move slowly, steps quiet. Each stone is shaped not by randomness, but by memory God at the end. The chamber opens. A domed room, built with corbelled stones that rise like a spiral turned upward. No mortar, no cement, just gravity, precision, and trust. It has stood for over 5,000 years, through storms, wars, and time itself. The ceiling is dry, perfectly dry. Not a drop seeps through. You sit in the center of the chamber. Imagine the solstice morning again. Outside, the sky is still dark. Then the edge glows orange and trembling, and a narrow band of gold threads its way through the passage, crossing stone, shadow, and silence, until it finds you. For 17 minutes, the chamber is lit not brightly, not with heat, but with presence. The light doesn't flood. It rests, like a hand laid gently on the shoulder of time. Then it retreats, slowly, respectfully, until darkness returns, and the tomb sleeps again. This is not coincidence. It is intention. A message from those who came before. The sun will return. The light will find you again. Even in the coldest season, even in the darkest room, you close your eyes. Even without the real beam of sunlight, you feel it. Your imagination becomes its own solstice, a soft illumination within. The chamber holds your breath, your thoughts, your quiet. You are not here to learn exactly. You are here to remember. That time is not only a ticking thing. It is a spiral, a return, a rhythm of waiting and revealing. You lie back on the cool stone, the mound holding you like a womb of the earth. The air is ancient and kind. You listen to your own heartbeat echo against the stone walls, a gentle reminder that you, too, are part of this alignment. Your own rhythm sinking slowly with the sky in the dark. You feel the shape of light, not with your eyes, but with your knowing. It is there, even when it is not visible. Like a promise beneath the soil, the chamber rests around you, built for light, built by hands that trusted the sun to return. And as your breath rises and falls in the hush of stone, you begin to wonder what the spirals mean, those circles in the dark, waiting patiently to be read. The chamber is dark now. The beam of solstice light has vanished, but something remains. A kind of glow that isn't light at all. A hush that listens, even in shadow. You sit quietly, eyes soft, not searching. The darkness here is not frightening. It's deep, yes. Ancient, yes. But it's a kind of depth that holds you, not swallows you. Your hand rests on the stone beside you. It is cool. Its surface, uneven. You reach slowly, fingers brushing over grooves, curves, turns. You are not alone in this touch. Centuries ago, another hand may have done the same. And before that, another still spirals everywhere etched into the great curbstone outside, carved into the passage walls, curled into the heart of the chamber, some big and bold, others shy and quiet, half faded into the stone. You trace one now. A gentle swirl. It begins at a point and then loops outwards. Once, twice, again, no beginning, no end, just motion, slow and soft, like thought becoming formed out. Why spirals? You wonder, but you do not ask with urgency. This is not a place for quick questions. It's a place for patient wondering, for letting meaning emerge like fog from the soil. The spiral is one of the oldest shapes in human art, older than writing, older than temples. You've seen it in shells, in galaxies, in flowers, in storms. And here, in the stone of a tomb, It waits, as if knowing you'd return. You move to another carving. This one is more complex. 3 spirals joined together. A triskel. 3 curves spinning out from a center in perfect balance. You feel the rhythm in your chest. A kind of symmetry that isn't rigid, but alive. Spirals are not just symbols. They are reflections of nature's pattern. Your fingerprint curls in a spiral. Your cochlea, the part of your inner ear that lets you hear, spirals too. Even your DNA twists like a double helix. A spiral staircase of life. In nature. Spirals are efficiency made beautiful. A sunflower's seeds curl outward in Fibonacci sequence. A nautilus shell adds chambers in perfect geometric growth. A hurricane spins with a spiral arm, reaching toward calm center. You sit still and begin to sense what those ancient hands might have known. That the spiral is not an answer, it's a path. It leads you in and out again. It mimics breath. Inhale, exhale, expand, contract. You wonder if the spiral here was a way of saying, this is not the end. Or perhaps, come closer. Or maybe it said nothing at all, and just invited you to feel what circles feel like. The darkness around you sharpens your other senses. You feel more than see. You begin to notice the rhythm in your own heartbeat. A pulse, a pattern, not so different from the spirals carved around you. You begin to walk again, slowly, palms brushing the wall as you pass. Each carving slightly different, each one a conversation. None of them shouting, all of them whispering. In this tomb, geometry becomes poetry. Not the kind you read, the kind you feel in your bones. You picture a group of people long ago, huddled in this space. Not scientists, not priests maybe, just people, telling stories, marking seasons, honoring the cycles of life and loss. Their tools were stones. There, language, shape. They may not have had equations, but they had time and wonder and a desire to leave something behind. You pause beside one final stone. It is the most worn of all. Barely visible, the spiral curves like a dream at the edge of sleep. You trace it slowly, finger trembling slightly in the cool air. You don't know what it means, but you understand it, like music without lyrics, like love before words, like the dark itself, holding more than it reveals. You sit again in the center of the chamber. All around you, circles in stone. Within you, circles of thought. Above you, stars spiral in the night sky, though you cannot see them here. Still, you feel their motion. You close your eyes. Let yourself fall gently into the spiral of this place. No edges, no urgency, just a slow turning inward. The dark teaches you something light cannot. That meaning does not always arrive in clarity. Sometimes it arrives in curve, in rhythm, in shape you already carry within. You lie down on the cold, sacred floor. And now the chamber is not a tomb. It is a clock, a compass, a story still unfolding. Somewhere beyond this spiral, deeper still, a silence waits beside stone and ash, and you wonder, who else came here to lie beside the breathless? You remain in the dark chamber, the spirals still echoing in your fingers. The air feels still, not heavy, but full. It presses gently around you, as if something long held here has not yet left. You breathe in slowly, and the chamber breathes. With you, it is quiet, yes, but it is not empty. You shift, your hand brushing something embedded in the stone floor, not spiral, not carving, but smoother, rounder, smaller, a shape that doesn't speak, but remembers, a stone basin. Set low, like a cradle, you lean closer, and within it, remnants. Not relics of treasure or ornament, but of people, fragments of bone, ashes, Charred out once, someone's body lay here. Now it is part of the chamber. Now it is part of the earth. You sit with that knowing, not afraid, but tender. Here, where the sun comes only once a year, they place the remains of the dead with intention, with reverence. The builders of Newgrange weren't just engineers. They were mourners. They were rememberers. You imagine them kneeling here, lifting the urn, placing it gently. A farewell, not final, but folded into the rhythm of the seasons, long before graveyards, before names on marble. There were these chambers. There was this way of holding the dead, close and not gone. And what remains now? Not full skeletons, but shards, tiny pieces of pelvis, charred slivers of long bones, teeth, cremation. Their final act of transformation. Science steps in gently here, tells you that the people buried in Newgrange were likely burned first. That fire became their passage into another form, that their bones were washed, broken, sorted, placed here in the side recesses of the chamber, in stone bowls, beside carved spirals, beneath a roof that never leaks. You touch the ground, not to possess, but to acknowledge. You are sitting among the ancient dead, but it does not feel cold. It feels returned. It raises questions, soft ones. Who were they? Were they chosen? Were they leaders? Lovers? Were they sung to as their ashes cooled? You picture a child, carried in arms, wrapped in linen. You picture an old woman, her bones brittle, now weightless in flame. You picture a boy who watched the sunbeams strike the floor one solstice, and grew, then aged, then became part of the very earth that once lit his eyes. Burial is more than the end of a life. It's the continuation of belonging. These chambers weren't just tombs. They were thresholds between body and memory, between breath and silence, between sky and soil. You close your eyes and lie down beside the stone basin, not on it, beside, as if to say, I see you. I do not disturb you. I only listen. Your body rests on ancient stone, and your thoughts begin to feel less like thoughts and more like breath, in and out, you and them, living and dead. Even the science slows here. Carbon dating gives you numbers. Osteology gives you age and sex. DNA gives you ancestry. But none of those things tell you who they missed, what their laugh sounded like, whether they feared death or welcomed it, knowing this chamber would hold them. You imagine the moment of placing, hands trembling, maybe tears, maybe songs, maybe only silence. There's no need to define ritual. You can feel it in the weight of the stone, in the careful architecture, in the way no one was left to the wind. You rise slowly and walk toward one of the smaller recesses. Another basin, another set of remains. You notice the positioning, east-facing, like the door. Even in death, their bodies were turned toward the promise of light, as if to say, this too will return, the sun, the breath, the you that was. Sit again. Let your back lean against the chamber wall. Stone cold, stone steady. You think of your own breath now. Each inhale, a kind of life. Each exhale, a small letting go. You do this without thought, every day. And yet, it is sacred. You think of all the breaths that came before yours in this place, and how many more will follow. Your bones shift slightly. You feel the weight of your body. One day, it will return to the earth too. And maybe, just maybe, someone will kneel beside your memory and feel what you feel now. Not grief, not fear, but quiet awe, because death is not the end of the story here. It is the continuation of silence, the kind that holds, the kind that teaches. The rain outside has softened again. You hear it now, faint and rhythmic on the stone above. Like a lullaby from the sky, you lie down once more. This time, not beside the spiral, but beside the basing dot, and though you are living, you feel yourself gently dissolving into the story of this place, into the curve of time, into the circle of breath and bone. You close your eyes, not to sleep, but to listen, because somewhere, above you, in sky and slit and shadow, a single beam of light waits to return, carrying the memory of stone into the future. Somewhere, high above the clouds, a photon is born out. It leaves the heart of the sun, a slow, dense, golden pulse pushed outward by heat and pressure. And then, freed dot, it travels across space, fast and clean, cutting through atmosphere and sky, bouncing off raindrops, slipping past wind, until it reaches this quiet hill, this chamber, this slit, this waiting doorway in stone. You rise from where you lay near the burial basin and walk softly back toward the passage. The air feels charged, not loud, not sharp, but alert. The solstice is near, and the tomb is ready. You pause at the entrance again, that same low threshold, guarded by carved spirals. Above it, the roof box, the narrow slit through which sunlight will soon pass. It is small, modest, yet somehow it knows exactly where to look. Only in these few days, each December, does the rising sun find the right angle and squeeze its beam through this opening. Only now, for a few sacred minutes, does light travel so far, so precisely, just to reach the back wall of a chamber carved from darkness. You step inside, slowly, carefully, as if not to disturb what has yet to arrive. It is still dark. Not for long, you imagine it, the way science imagines too, how the light will enter. A single shaft, not scattered, not chaotic, but direct, focused, sharp dot a beam, the width of your palm, stretching like a finger of the cosmos, from sun to slit to passage floor, touching stone that hasn't felt sunlight in a year. And it's not just chance. It is design. Intent. You feel the geometry with your body, the way the passage angles ever so slightly upward, the way the slit is raised above the door, and how each stone was placed, not simply to build a tomb, but to guide the light. This is ancient astronomy. Not with telescopes, but with time, with memory, with eyes that watched the horizon day after day, year after year. The builders didn't have equations. They had shadow. They had sunrise. They had patience. You stand now in the place where light will land. At the rear of the tomb, where ashes once rested, where spirals wait silently on stone, you imagine the light arriving. The beam traveling from 93 million miles away, through sky, through mist, into this narrow slit, then sliding down the passage like a secret revealed in silence. It doesn't illuminate the whole chamber. It doesn't stay long. Just 17 minutes. Enough to touch. Enough to remind. And then it leaves. Until next year, you picture the photons now, not as particles or waves, but as messengers. Tiny golden seeds of the sun, bringing warmth to the coldest days, bringing life into a space of memory and stillness. There is no electricity here. No flame. And yet the chamber lives by light. You sit again. The stones press against your back, holding you in a cradle of quiet. This passage was not made just to house the dead. It was made to remember the sky, to stay in sync with something larger, to say, we are here, and the sun will return. In the modern world, light is everywhere, always on, always available. But here, light is rare, intentional, earned, and that makes it sacred. You wonder how they knew, how they found true east, how they marked solstice, how they measured time with no clocks, only shadow, season, stone. Perhaps it was observation. Perhaps it was myth. Perhaps it was both. Perhaps the spiral on the outside mirrors the spiral of the sun's journey, slowly winding. Then returning to center. You lie back again, eyes closed, but mind wide. And you see the light not with your eyes, but with your knowing. It is warm. Not burning, but gentle, like truth arriving without words. And in that moment, you understand. This chamber is not just a monument to the dead. It is a calendar of the living. A sunbeam is not just a ray. It's a reminder that even in the dark, light travels. It finds its way. It always has. You listen to the quiet around you and hear something beyond silence. A rhythm. Stone, sky, solstice, stone again. All of it turning. All of it returning. You breathe in and exhale slowly. Like light traveling through stone. Like time passing through stillness. The sunbeam will come and go and come again. As will you. And beneath your resting body, beneath the chamber and the end, soil, a deeper rhythm pulses, not of sun or silence, but of time, counted in seasons. And stone. The chamber is dark again. The golden beam of solstice light has slipped away, leaving behind only shadow, silence, and stone. But it is not gone. It has only moved on to its next circle around the sun. You stay still for a long while. Not because there's nothing to do, but because this is the doing, the being, the remembering. Newgrange is quiet now, but you can feel it, a low rhythm beneath the floor, like the ticking of something not mechanical, but earthen. You rise slowly. Your feet press against the stone with care. And as you begin to walk back down the passage, you feel it again. That this place is not only a monument to the past, it is a device for measuring time, a whispering calendar, written not in ink, but in geometry, shadow, and sun. You emerge into the cool mist outside. The rain is lighter now, more like memory than weather. And as you stand there, you begin to understand. Newgrange is not just a tomb. It is a clock, a map, a seasonal song. The solstice was only one verse. You look up toward the sky, that pale winter dome stretching over green hills, and feel its slow turning. A wheel, invisible but true. You think of the year, its circle of light and dark. The long arc from solstice to equinox, from equinox to solstice again. The sun rising farther north each day, then swinging back south, not randomly, but rhythmically. The builders of Newgrange knew this. Maybe not with math, but with memory, with sky watching, with ritual. They noticed where the sun rose and set, how long it lingered, how shadows stretched and shortened like breath. You remember the roof box above the doorway, how it admits the light only at the solstice. And you realize that slit is a hinge, a mark on the great turning wheel. They could have built the door to face anywhere, but they chose the one moment when the light is most precious. When the sun seems to hesitate on the horizon before returning again, and so they marked it, held it in stone, so that all who came after could feel what you feel now. Time is not a line, it is a circle, and you are inside it. You begin to walk the perimeter of the mound. The grass is wet. The stones are patient. Carvings curl beneath. Your fingers, spirals, triangles, arcs. You pause beside one of the curbstones. It bears a triskel, 3 spirals joined, turning outward. You trace the path with your eyes. 1 spiral for birth, 1 for death, 1 for what lies between. A symbol for time, not divided, but flowing. You think about the moon now, how it waxes and wanes, round and gone, and round again. The ancient people tracked that too. They noticed its pull on water, its changes in shape, and some scholars believe the spiral carvings may reflect lunar cycles, the count of days between dark moon and full. You place your hand on your own chest. Your own pulse follows its own rhythm. Sleep, wake, hunger, rest. Life moves. In patterns. Even breath is a kind of tide. You kneel in the grass and look across the valley. The land itself holds a kind of symmetry. Hill after hill, rising and falling like the slow exhale of a sleeping earth dot. There are other mounds. Nearby, Laukru, Noth, Douth, each aligned to different celestial events. Some mark equinoxes. Some lunar standstills. You realize this land is not random. It is a calendar stretched across terrain, with Newgrange as one of its most intricate hours. Not one that chimes, but one that glows. One that pulses with sunlight only when the sky and stone align. You stand again and walk further. The rain has stopped now, and mist curls like breath across the stones. You think about calendars today, numbers printed on pages, digital dots. On screens. But here, time is shape, time is light. Time is where the sun falls and how the shadows shift. You wonder what it felt like to live by this rhythm. To plant by moon, to harvest by equinox, to grieve and gather by solstice. Not ruled by time, but held by it. Like a child held in a cradle that gently rocks through seasons. You take off your shoes and stand barefoot on the earth. The soil is soft, cold, a live dot, and you feel it. That pulse. That counting, that not of seconds, but of suns. You walk slowly, as if moving with the wheel itself. The great cycle of night and day, of warm and cold, of light returning. And you begin to sense that you are not simply watching this calendar. You are part of it. Your body changes with seasons. Your skin feels the shift. Your sleep deepens in winter. Your energy returns with spring, that you are not separate from the year. You are written into it, that your breath is a solstice. Your dreams are equinoxes. Your life is a turning, slow and spiraled. You return once more to the doorway. Stand beneath. The roof box. Touch the carved spiral once again. And you know, this is not just a mark of time. It is a reminder that even in forgetting, we are remembered. That even in silence, we are part of the rhythm. The sun will return. The wheel will turn. The stone will glow again. And so will you. You step lightly across the grass and feel something. Stir beneath your feet, not roots, but memories. Written in stone, waiting to be read. You sit again, this time not in the chamber, but along the outer edge of the mound, where grass meets curbstone, where time feels thick beneath your hands. The stone beside you is old. Older than the mound itself. Older than myth. Born not from story, but from pressure. From heat, water, silence, and time. You place your palm flat on its surface. Rough, cold, solid. It does not speak. But it remembers. Stone does not recall like the mind does. It doesn't store moments in sentences, doesn't play them back like images. Its memory is slower, etched in lines, folds, cracks. Composition. Geology is a kind of deep listening. You lean closer. The grain of the stone, its flecks of quartz, the way it meets the earth. These are not random. They are remnants of another time. Before the mound, before the carvings, before hands ever touched it, this stone lived elsewhere. Perhaps it was once buried beneath a mountain, pressed into form by tectonic breath. Or maybe it cooled from molten fire, formed in the quiet aftermath of eruption. You remember, Ireland's landscape was not always green. It was once shaped by ancient volcanoes, by oceans that came and went, by glaciers that scraped and sighed. Across the land, carving valleys, moving stone like slow waves of forgetting and remembering. You're not just sitting on earth. You're sitting on a history of movement, of forming, of resting. The stone beneath your hand has no clock. Its time is counted in layers, not hours. Its life is a ledger of transformation, pressure becoming permanence. You close your eyes. The silence here feels different, thicker, maybe. As if the stone is whispering, not in words, but in weight. Scientists read these stones too, with eyes, with microscopes, with tools that see what human vision cannot dot. They study minerals, trace elements, grain orientation. From these, they learn when the stone formed, how it moved, what touched it, and when. That's what archaeology is. In part, listening to what geology left behind. The bones in the basin, the ashes in the chamber, they rest on geological foundations. Stone holds the memory of the place, so that archaeologists can hold the memory of the people. You reach out again, this time tracing the spiral carved into the curbstone. Even that carving, its grooves, its depth, carries geological clues. The chisel made of stone or bone? Was the weather wet when they worked? Did a slip of the hand leave a mark that still remains? Each answer is a whisper in the rock dot. You lie back now, your spine resting along the curve of the mound. The grass is soft. The stone beneath, unyielding, but oddly comforting. You feel yourself settling into the memory of the land. Beneath you, layers of sediment compacted into shale. Basalt from old volcanic flows. Limestone formed from crushed coral and shell. Even beneath that, magma once roiled in fire-dark chambers, now cooled and forgotten, except by the stone. And above you, sky, cloud, light, all temporary dot. It's strange to think. The hardest thing you can touch, the stone, is also the most patient dot. It outlives buildings, outlives language, outlives you, but not without purpose. You think about how people once broke these stones, shaped them, stacked them, not just to build, but to speak across time, not to say, we were here. We saw the sun. We marked its return. We buried our dead with care. We understood something deeper than ourselves, Dot, and the stones listened, held the message, kept it safe, even now, with wind whispering through tall grass, with rain softening the edges, the message remains. You take a long, slow breath. You are not the first to lie here. And you won't be the last. Dot. Your body, for now, is warm and alive. But one day, you too will return to the elements, to calcium, carbon, water, dust. Stone doesn't fear this. It welcomes it, because stone knows everything changes, but nothing is lost. The spiral taught you this. The solstice light reminded you. And now the earth beneath you offers the same quiet wisdom. Be still. Let time shape you. You do not need to rush to remain. You think of memory again, the kind held in minds, and the kind held in matter. Maybe the body remembers the land it came from. Maybe your bones know the rhythm of erosion. Maybe rest is not forgetting, but becoming part of something larger. Dot. You curl onto your side, cheek against the grass, listening, not for voices, but for vibration, for that deep, subtle humming that tells you you are resting on the ancient truth of things. Not. And as you begin to drift, you wonder if stone can hold memory so long. What else might it remember? Perhaps in the mist, those memories rise, not as facts or fossils, but as stories told in fog and myth. The rain fades. Dot. What remains is mist, thin and pale, drifting low over the grass like the breath of the earth itself. You sit quietly on the slope of the hill, the mound of Newgrange rising behind you, its stones softened by the fog. Shapes blur, edges dissolve, and from that gentle unclarity, something else begins to form. Not a fact, but a feeling. Not a number, but a story. You close your eyes and let the mist touch your skin. Cool, damp, alive. Dot. It curls around your ankles like memory made visible. And within it, faint and distant, voices begin to echo, not loud, not intrusive, but present, These are the myths of this place, not carved into stone, but spoken into air, generation after generation. You hear them now, as if the mist carries their weight. One speaks of Bone, a goddess of the Boyne River, the very waterway that curls through this land. They say she defied the laws of the sacred well, and when the water rose in fury, it chased her to the sea, carving the river's path with every step she took. And in her wake, she left not only the river, but the land it nourishes, and the stories it shelters. Another voice tells of Dagda, the great sun god, whose club could kill with one end and bring life with the other. They say he built Newgrange, this very mound, as a gift for Bone, and that inside its stone heart he placed more than bones. He placed light and timing and magic. You sit with that story, not to believe or disbelieve, but to understand the shape of meaning, because myth is not false, it is folded truth. It is how people explained what they saw before science found other words. You remember the solstice beam, how the light pierced the chamber only once a year. To you, it is a marvel of ancient astronomy. To them, it was the breath of a god. Both are true, in different tongues. You open your eyes, and the fog is thickened. It drapes over the stones like silk, and through it you imagine the shapes of warriors, cloaked in mist, silent, waiting. You recall the legend of Angus, the god of youth and love, who was said to have tricked the Dagda into giving him Newgrange for a day and a night. But Angus, clever and bold, argued that all time is made of days and nights. And so the mound became his forever, a story. But within it, a glimmer of human thought, of language used to bend time, to claim space, to echo laughter through centuries. You begin to see myth as the mist itself, hard to grasp, yet everywhere. It surrounds stone. It hovers over fact. It connects the seen and the felt. Science gives you data. Myth gives you meaning. One tells you how. The other wonders why. You lie back in the wet grass, letting your body rest as your mind wanders deeper. Into fog. You remember how spirals on stone can mark time, but also, perhaps, represent sun gods spinning through sky. You think of burial basins holding bones, but also, perhaps, housing the spirits of ancestors, waiting to rise again with the light. In a world before books, before satellites, myths were the sky's diary. They remembered what the stars did, what the seasons felt like, what the land offered or withheld. They taught when to plant, when to harvest, when to mourn, when to celebrate. And even now, in your modern mind, some part of you still craves that kind of knowing, not just analytical, but ancestral. The mist shifts, and the mound behind you becomes less a structure, more a silhouette. You rise and walk slowly, each step soft and squelching in the grass. The world feels farther away. Only you and the hill remain. Another tale comes to mind. They say the mounds of the Boyne Valley are sea, portals to the world of the Ow Sea, the fair folk, the hidden people, guardians of old knowledge. These mounds are not just tombs. They are thresholds, and if the mist thickens and the veil thins, you just might, step through. You reach out, hand brushing the damp stone, cool, familiar. You do not enter, but you listen, because myth does not always shout. It waits, in fog, in ritual, in quiet. You think of the line between science and myth, and how thin it really is. The stars have always moved. The earth has always turned. The light has always returned. But how we explain it changes, from gods pulling chariots across the sky to ellipses and axial tilts. Neither is wrong. They are languages for the same truth. You look down at your feet. Mist clings to your boots. Water beads on the grass. Everything is blurred and beautiful. You are not here to prove or disprove. You are here to feel to let the story of the land wash through you like weather. You close your eyes one last time, and somewhere between dream and waking, you hear them, the voices of those who walked here long before you. Some carried tools, some carried urns, some carried stories, and some still do. The fog lifts just a little, and through its thinning veil you glimpse something buried, a corner of stone, a layer of soil, and the promise of what lies beneath. You are still near the mound, mist parting in swirls around your shoulders. The myths cling softly to your clothes, but now something else begins to stir. A different kind of story, told not by legend, but by soil. You close your eyes, and open them again, somewhere in another time. The year is 1699. Man swings a pickaxe through the wet Irish earth. He is not a scholar, not a seeker of secrets. He is a worker, collecting stones for a wall, and then a hollow sound, a crack, a void behind the rock. He clears the soil, dust, and moss, falling away like a curtain pulled back. And what he finds is not just stone, but structure, an entrance, a forgotten mouth of the earth, quiet for thousands of years. You stand beside him, unseen. The rain is the same. The wind still whispers through the valley. But something ancient has awakened. This was the moment when Newgrange re-entered memory, not as a hill, but as a place built with intent. Soon word spreads. Curiosity follows. More tools, more hands, more eyes. Centuries begin to dig, not just physically, but intellectually. Archaeology is born slowly, like light through soil. You feel it now, the rhythm of digging, a slow uncovering. The way layers peel back, one after another, like chapters buried under centuries of moss. You think of the early excavators, some careful, some clumsy, some looking for knowledge, others for treasure. But always the soil told stories. Whether they were listened to kindly depended on the hands that held the spade. In the 1960s, another kind of digging began, this time with patience, with documentation, with brushes and strings and measuring tape, with questions. Archaeologists work not to claim, but to understand. Picture them now, kneeling in mud, scanning carved spirals, measuring the angles of light. They uncover more than bones. They uncover belief, cremated remains, fragments of tools, beads, pendants, bowls, objects placed with care, as if burial were a conversation between the living and the beyond. You feel your own body sinking now, not into sleep yet, but into thought. What is archaeology, really? It's listening, to dirt, to dust, to things the present has forgotten, but the earth still holds close. You lie back fully now, your head resting on the grass, as if it were a page, and time begins to read. Archaeology reveals more than relics. It reveals rhythm, that people lived not randomly, but with awareness of sky, of cycle, of place. And you begin to see the layers not just in ground, but in yourself. There is the surface layer, your daily thoughts, your name, your tasks. Then below that, memory, emotion, impression. And deeper still, instinct, lineage, ancestral echoes. You realize, you too are a site, a map of layers, each breath adding a little more. You picture time not as a river, but as a well, and you are both water and the stone that holds it. In digging Newgrange, people didn't just uncover history, they unearthed questions. Why was it built with such precision? Why bury the dead in a chamber touched only by one sunrise a year? What did those spirals mean? Even now, with carbon dating and aerial scans and high-resolution photography, some things remain unknown, and that, somehow, discomforting. Because mystery, too, is part of the truth. The digging is never just about finding. It's about becoming familiar with the unknown. You feel the earth beneath you again, solid and steady. But inside it, movement. Forms shifting soil. Water carving tunnels. Roots growing down into the dark. Nothing here is still, even when it sleeps. You think of the archaeologists today, scientists still kneeling in fields, still brushing dirt from bone, still opening doors in time. They do not take. They listen, and now, so do you. You listen to the space beneath you, to the faint sound of time digging back into you. What do you remember when the layers fall away? Not numbers, not names, but feelings, shapes, light, wind. You realize that every object buried here once passed through a hand, a heartbeat, a goodbye, end. Every one retrieved passes through yours. Not the chain is not broken. It simply passes deeper. Back and forward, as time continues to turn the soil, you exhale slowly. And with it, you imagine dust rising from your breath, drifting, settling, becoming part of the next layer. You too are sediment, but soft, still forming, not yet done. And as you lie there, quiet, you begin to wonder, if the soil can hold the memory of bones, can it also hold the memory of light? Perhaps the sunbeam, once buried in shadow, finds its way back not just to stone, but to sky. You rise before dawn. The air is still, as if the world holds its breath. No birdsong yet, no wind. Only the hush of a morning waiting to begin. You walk again to Newgrange. This time not as an observer, but as something more, a quiet participant. In a ceremony as old as memory, the grass beneath your feet glistens, each blade holding the cold weight of night's breath. Above you, clouds drift apart like curtains parting for light. It is solstice, and the sun is near. You reach the entrance just as the sky begins to pale. The roof box above the doorway glows faintly, not yet gold, but expectant. You step into the passage. It is dark, as always. The stones close around you, cool and familiar. You know the way now. Each turn, each silence, and then a flicker. A thread of light spills in, thin as a whisper, but certain. The sun has risen. It finds the slit above the door, slips through the narrow roof box, and enters the passage, like it has every year for more than 5,000 winters. A golden shaft stretches forward, reaching down the stone corridor. It does not rush. It arrives as though remembering its path, as though following something it once loved. You step back, allowing the beam to travel. You watch it reach toward the chamber, toward the center, toward the stones that have waited all year for this single touch of warmth. The light lands gently on the back wall of the tomb. No fanfare, no sound, just presence. And for 17 minutes, the chamber breathes in gold. You sit on the edge of the chamber, hands folded in your lap, body still, eyes soft. You don't just see the light, you feel it. On your face, on the stones, inside your chest. It is not bright like midday. It is warm like memory, soft like breath. You think of the builders, how they aligned each stone so this exact thing could happen. So that light, in the coldest part of the year, would find the center of the dark. And you wonder, was that the message? That light returns, that cycle's complete, that time spirals, but always comes home. The photons that reach you today left the sun 8 minutes ago, traveled through space, through sky, through stone. And now they rest here, on your skin, on your bones, on the ashes of those long gone. You close your eyes. You are not thinking anymore. You are listening to warmth, to stillness, to time. This chamber, once used for burial, feels alive. And so do you. The beam slowly shifts, golden fingers moving across the chamber floor. It touches the carved basin. It brushes the edge of a spiral. It climbs the back wall, pauses, and then begins to fade. Not abruptly, just slowly. Gently. The same way it arrived. The chamber dims. The light slips away, and the stones return to shadow. But something lingers. Not the light itself, but the echo of it. A warmth behind your eyes. A rhythm in your breath. A quiet sense that you have seen something not just rare, but true. You walk back down the passage, trailing your hand along the stone. The entrance is still lit, just barely. And as you step outside, the sky is fully awake. Clouds now glow pink and silver, and the grass seems greener, brighter, new. You turn to face the mound once more. It looks the same, rounded, still. But now, you see it not just as a structure, but as a promise kept. The earth held light for a year, and gave it back, exactly on time. You feel a deep exhale move through your body, not from lungs, but from something older. A remembering deeper than thought. You lie in the grass, body warm from the chamber, hair damp from dew. And you think of all the times the sun has done this. All the years, all the centuries. The beam always finds its way, even through rain, even through cloud, even through forgetting. The sun returns. The chamber receives. The pattern holds. Your eyes close again, and in the quiet behind your eyelids, you see spirals, not drawn, but unfolding, a golden loop, a breath, a year. And then another. You feel your body as part of the wheel now, your bones borrowed from the earth, your breath borrowed from the sky. Time does not pass. It moves through you, and you move with it. You are not separate from this rhythm. You are folded into it, gently, like light into dark, like rest into waking. You do not need to understand. You only need to be. And as the rain returns, soft and steady, you feel the drop of water on your cheek, as if it were the last note of a song played in stone. Perhaps this is all you ever needed to remember, that even in darkness, the sunbeam still knows your name. And now, as our story gently fades, I want to thank you, from the bottom of my heart, for spending this moment with me. Your presence here means the world, and your support helps me create even more peaceful journeys. Just for you. If this helped you rest, please consider liking, subscribing, or simply coming back tomorrow night. Until then, stay cozy, stay kind, and may your dreams tonight be soft, serene, and full of wonder. Good night, my friend. With warmth, David.